Yo, yo, yo. We're just waiting for more people to jump in the space, jump in the space, and then we kick off shortly.
Hey guys, I'm just popping a few invites out there, but figured I'd jump up and say, hey, I'm just still working on some stuff at the moment.
Big up the doc. Yes, greetings, greetings, greetings. Welcome to the Webfree Music and Poetry Show. I'm your host, Nye, the Lyrical Alchemist. I believe I've got Nat Cole alongside me. Big up my brother. And the doc. And yeah, respect to Shantanu 7. Thank you for coming through. Yeah, I wanted to chat to you about, or wanted to have a conversation today about should artists focus on what sells or meet social needs? And basically, there's a lot of things that has inspired this question, yeah. But what hit me was what's happening right now in Palestine. There's a lot of pressure on DJ Khaled because he's from there, right, to actually say something, and he's not said something. So is that, and he's not really an artist per se, but still the question still remains, like, is it the artist's responsibility to make sales as to which why they signed, or to meet the people's needs? So the way I see it is that music is so influential and powerful. There's not anyone who won't have an opinion or should have an opinion on this. If you don't, and then I suspect you're an AI. So
I actually can lead with an opinion if you want.
yeah, go ahead, the doc.
Yeah. So honestly, I don't think it's a very interesting question. I don't think it's his responsibility to speak on political affairs as an artist. I mean, that's just, I get it. Like, I get it. I mean, that would be like me being over in London and something happening in America and everyone looking at me being like, what do you have to say for this or about this? And I just don't think that's right or fair, you know. He's not a politician.
Good point. It's a good point. But Nat, you there?
Yeah, and I feel like I see what Doc is definitely saying there, but I think there's a difference between publicly speaking on things and having a platform to publicly speak on things. And also, being able to speak on this amongst, your particular community of where you're from, like your heritage. In the end of the day, nobody knows what private conversations he's having about this or what things he's doing that are not on the front line. But at the same time, I think, yeah, when you've got a platform, yeah, it's kind of like, somebody asking me, yeah, like, like, what do you feel about, like, not a political issue, but more of an issue like gangs in Jamaica? Like, if I've got a platform, then I suppose, like, if I feel that there's something wrong there, then I need to talk about it. Just say if I've got a platform to talk about it. But again, I think just going back to what Doc says, like, it is like really the person's personal choice, isn't it? Really, if you look at it, and whether you choose to follow that person or, you know, I don't want to say believe in, but whether you want to, choose to follow that person or respect that person or respect that decision to that person is totally up to you as the person who's witnessing it, innit? Really, you don't have to be a fan of DJ Khaled to witness it and have an opinion on it. So yeah, but I don't think it's like he has to, innit? Like, there's nothing saying that he has to speak about any issue.
Yeah, real good points. So then, what makes me now want to ask you both, yeah, based upon that, and yeah, welcome to the stage, Abraham. Is on the flip side, if you're paid, if like for example, you're paid to promote a certain political agenda. So for example, in America, I know that a lot of artists were behind Obama, for example, and they're getting paid to do so, right? So is it an artist's responsibility, therefore, to do what is paid, what pays them, or should they just not be involved in the politics at all? Period. Whether should money be the reason why they involve themselves in a political agenda, or not? What do you guys think?
I mean, again, just on looking at it from a zoomed up perspective, it's like it's anyone's personal choice, isn't it? Really, like to judge that how they judge that. But again, it is their particular, and it's not down for them to really judge anybody, but it's their particular perspective, on that is gonna, me personally, I don't really think that, paying people a political message through music is really it's not something I would do, innit? Like if I was paid to put a particular political message into a piece of music, I wouldn't do it. Do you understand, right? But that's me, innit, right? And that's what I'm saying. Like from a different angle, from somebody else's angle, they might feel like, oh, hey, that's hella worth it. You know what I'm trying to say to you, like. But from my personal opinion, I don't think that artist should do it. You know what I'm trying to say to you, like. But I can't stop them from doing it. You know. Yeah, that's it. Really, like I wouldn't. If an artist is pushing a different message in their music on an average day-to-day basis than what they're aligned with, yeah, with that particular politician, then I, lose a little bit of respect. I'd say for I wouldn't. Sorry, I'd expect it. Sorry, if they pushing different messages totally, then I would lose a lot of respect depending on the level of what this message actually is. You understand what I'm trying to say? And it's really how deep that artist or that person that's looking at the situation reads into um, the politics, man. Because politics is really, politicians and all that is really deep, man. You don't know who's saying what or who's doing what. I should say to you on the surface level. So, but yeah, if it's just like again, my personal opinion, then I would say that I wouldn't. If I was an artist, I personally wouldn't be down for doing that.
So, can I add onto this real quick? I do kind of find it funny, and no disrespect to DJ Khaled, but are we really expecting a political statement from someone whose best lyrics are his own name and then "We the best"?
Good point. Good point. I guess it speaks to what Nat was saying earlier in terms of like the platform, because he has such a massive reach. People have that expectation, but yeah, based upon the character himself, yeah, I
I'm
know.
not trying to fire shots at the guy. I mean, he did put out some good bangers, but I mean, lyrically, he ain't it.
Yeah, well, I don't think he puts pen to paper. I don't even think he's more like a um executive producer as well. He doesn't actually make his own beats. He more says this is what he wants per track.
Good to know. Yeah, I'd consider more of a producer.
I think generally already, like we'll get too hung up on this Khaled thing, right? Like like is really and truthfully, we're talking about just artists in general, right? Like and as I just said before, and as you guys have just kind of said there again, is it all depends on that particular person, isn't it? Like like and how people in their fan base or that choose to listen to them believe or perceive, sorry, shall I say, what that artist is supposed to win, or that's it, innit? And a lot of artists, in a way you could say, and I know where this is going, but a lot of artists, in a way, you can say, don't really put onto the music what they really represent. Some artists, quite artists, especially where you're saying, a man doesn't write stuff, or he doesn't, he's not really a writer like that, or a lyricist or anything like that. Then a lot of artists are kind of, I wouldn't say cookie cutter manufacturer, but like a lot of artists have lots of songs written for them, so they're just really just saying what somebody else likes that they resonate with. And I suppose in that situation, if a political message comes up, unless they really strongly are opposed to the political message, then they're going to take the money for doing it because they've been given a song to sing. So again, I'd say it all depends on the person and the perspective of the person that's listening to the music, and how they see that, they vision that person, as a person.
Facts. And that brings me on to my next question. I don't know, Nat, I don't know if you saw this yet, but D1, underground rapper, basically called out Rick Ross and Meek Mill and Jim Jones, and he was like, basically, I love you lot, but you gotta switch it up with your lyrics. And he called out Meek Mill to say, you're the face of prison reform, but you're rapping about something that basically gets people into prison. So that's also what sparked off this like, wrong, what is the artist's responsibility? Like Meek Mill's response was, well, I'm doing, oh no, sorry, Rick Ross's response is like, I'm doing a lot for the community, I'm getting all these turkeys, don't question me. And Meek Mill was like, this is separate, this is here, and the prison reform is over there. So yeah, what do you think about D1 and what he's saying versus what them lot are saying?
I mean, yeah, I did pick up on this particular situation. And I know, again, the overarching theme here, really, just for everyone in the room, is more the broader artist's responsibility. But this is an example, and I did see. Look, I see what D1 is saying, like I said, which I resonate with probably quite a lot. In terms of what he's saying, but at the same time, I think that the video that for me in that particular situation, for those who don't know, there's two actual videos of D1, videos of D1 is the third video. So D1 spoke about basically those guys, talking about murder and killing and all of this stuff in their music and put hits on people and all this stuff, right? And saying that they're not really in the street anymore. They're not really, doing that kind of stuff. Why don't they talk about more positive things? Why don't they give back to their community? Blah, 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 right? And the response was obviously, that they do give back to the community, so on and so forth, and like I said, like what they're saying is over here, and what they're doing for the community is over here, and they're still doing lots of stuff for the community. But then the follow-up of what kind of D1 was saying to that in the second video was more going deeper. He was not trying to diss anyone. He was not trying to go at anybody, and he didn't say it in any way, as you said, But the third video was what was actually quite interesting, because the third video was a video and DMC from Run DMC, and he was saying to him that he could see what he's saying, because in the end of the day, he's kind of saying that, look, there's a certain tactical way of being able to tell stories about what you may have been through, or stories about what's going on in the streets or what's going on in the world. And hip-hop has always been that music that has always talked about everything, so it never shies away from about any kind of issue. But at the same time, there's also the flip side of it, is that if you're making it current, then you need to kind of draw and I understand that perspective as well, that there needs to be kind of like a clear line between that being over there and this being over here. And then kind of like at Meek Mill and Rick Ross's side of things, it's like lots of shit happens in the world, bro. Like lots of shit is going on in the world. So it's like I know it might be, after a while, multiple people, but one of guys coming out and rapping a certain way or whatever ain't gonna change a whole generation of children. Do you understand what I'm trying to say in the end of the day? So, I can also understand that perspective, that whatever they're rapping about, there's always gonna be, as we say a lot of the time, there's a fan for everything. Yeah. So yeah.
I mean, We can't just sit here and pretend that D12 didn't change a whole generation of hip hop, though.
Yeah, go on, Doc. Expand on what you're saying.
That's all I had to say.
Yeah, D12, but we're talking about D1. Doc.
Well,
We're talking about D1.
D1? What's D1?
Yeah, he's a rapper.
No, I haven't heard of him.
Okay, yeah. So he's an underground rapper, Christian rapper that is basically this asks bigger artists like putting some social conscious in your works and stop rapping about the stuff you're not doing right now, basically. In a very diplomatic and gentle way. And I just put it, he didn't say it like that. He said it in a very soft way. But it's interesting. And what you were saying, that like this made me think, yeah, if, or even what they were saying as well, like if what they're doing is separate, and in fact the music that sells is what enables them to do certain good things, should more artists with conscious awareness or with like a heart for the community and such, should they consider more trying to be as commercial successful as possible so that they can be more impactful with what they're doing?
Yeah, I think Abraham wanted to say something as well there. Sorry, but yeah, like I mean, look, like for me again, just resetting back to where we started off here, like is our artists, yeah, in any genre, because I think again we're leaning too much here. We talked about like DJ Khaled, we talked about D1, we talked about that. There's so many different genres of music, different people that listen to so many different types of stuff, yeah. So in the end of the day, again, none of it has any relevance here, right? Unless kind of like there is like, okay, this particular social message over, and the thing is in every genre there's going to be somebody who's pushing some kind of agenda message, because as you said before, people are going to get paid, to push whatever, political or it's not political, it doesn't matter. Like, if it's eat more fast food, eat McDonald's, like, or whatever, right? Sorry, hero. Eat more McDonald's or whatever, right? Or eat carrot sticks. Like, it doesn't matter. There's going to be some guy out there that does it, or some chick out there that does it, and there's going to be some listener that listens to it. Yeah, right. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I think what we're going on about is, again, the more broader like landscape of music. Yeah, is it right for an artist to push a political agenda? No one can actually say whether it's wrong or it's right. It's just your particular opinion. And if there's a group of people that believe that particular opinion is wrong, then that's what they're going to believe. And no one single artist is going to be able to change that. Michael Jackson couldn't change it, and he was the biggest artist on the planet for however many years, right? From he was a kid, like he's the biggest change activist on the planet, yeah, as a musician, yeah, right. And yeah, he affected loads of change, and that might have brought into loads of light and made it.
Yeah, is it me or did Nat just go? Is it me? Mic check. Have I been rugged? Yeah, can anyone hear?
I can hear you guys, but your voice are breaking. I guess it's network issue.
Oh, you can hear me, Abraham. Can you hear Nat, Cole, and Doc?
I can hear you a little bit, but your voice is breaking.
Okay. What did you want to say to the topic? Abraham?
So basically, I just wanted to ask, like, I didn't you guys talking about music, poetry, and stuff. So I just wanted to ask you guys about like what's your say about music NFTs on Stacks? Where you guys think if it's there's a space for that on Stacks, like if music's on Stacks can strive.
Well, yes, most definitely. I'd say yes, 100%. There's already artists that have made good NFT sales, selling their music NFTs on Stacks. But yeah, I feel Stacks in the future is best placed for the biggest success for Web3 artists, simply because of the connection to Bitcoin. The potential is just like there is no limit to it, is what I'd say.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, so basically, why I'm asking this question because I'm working on a marketplace called Stacks. Where, the marketplace is trying to
Abraham, you're really low.
okay. So okay, sorry. Am I audible now?
Yes.
So why I said that was because I'm working on an NFT marketplace called Stacks Nation, and Stacks Nation is an NFT marketplace designed to revive NFTs on Stacks. Because basically, since the emergence of NFTs, Bitcoin NFTs, the Stacks NFT space have suffered a great loss and lack in activities. So uh, basically, I'm going around trying to get feedback on how and what other contributors and communities and community communities to see what they're going to say, what they say about the project, because if some stacks are really dead, and then I think it's an opportunity for us to actually now create a new market for NFTs on stacks to to support artists and then to support projects.
That sounds dope. Yeah, please, I'm gonna stay connected. Yeah, let me know like the progression of that. When are you aiming for the completion?
So
The marketplace. When do you want to get that started and finished?
okay, so for the MVP, I plan on launching it by before before the end of December. But I right now I'm applying for stacks grants pilots that has been launched. So that's what's happening.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, please keep me in the loop. Doc, you're back. Nat Cole.
Sorry, yeah, I got a phone call, bro. Just
Okay,
I came back a little while ago, but yeah, I was just listening.
okay, no
But yeah,
worries.
can't continue, man.
And Doc, I don't know if you're there as well. You both seem to cut out at the same time.
What was that? I'm sorry. I actually had a phone
Okay.
call pop in, and that's why I kind of cut out for a second. So,
Okay. Yeah, yeah. So yeah. I don't know if you remember what you were finishing off with saying that.
Yeah, yeah. As I said, like everyone's just gonna be they're gonna do. People gonna be free to believe what they're gonna believe in. Like I'm trying to say to you, and that's like what it really pans out to. Like in the end of it, as I said, Michael Jackson, world's biggest artist for however many years. Like that was like always on activation, always in front. Yeah, couldn't change everyone in the world's mind, bro. Like so, like you know. Like it's gonna happen whether you like it or not. Like it's just what you choose to be. If you're a musician, is what side of the coin do you choose to be on, innit? And that's really it. And same for the listener.
Yeah, yeah. I hear that for sure. Like that's the reality of things. Um, we've seen it. Although the next question I got then is we've seen over time less and less Michael Jacksons or Bob Marley or when you think about Marvin Gaye or even Tupac. Like today, don't have as many. And the question is, are those type of artists needed, or is it just literally where we're at, like as a society? What are you lot thinking?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's more of a personal view, but I just say that, yeah, personally, like, it is needed. Like, the message is always needed, and good messages are always needed, and sometimes sad messages are needed, like bad messages are needed, or adverse messages are needed. So shall I say, or opinion. So yeah, but yeah, that's just my personal view again.
Yeah, I find it they are needed, and I find it interesting, yeah, because there isn't as many today. More time when people are looking for songs or whatnot at any of kind of like loads of events, actually, not even just political events or whatnot. You have music from 30, 40 years ago that just is for that. So if it's like like how Candy is at basically every wedding, like there has to be a Candy moment, for example. And because we ain't got that variation on that mass scale today, we ain't got no songs that is like that today, where we can have at any different kind of events. More time you're hearing songs from 40, 30, 50 years ago. By the way, I'm trying to add Shantanu. It's been requested for a while, but for whatever reason, X is not allowing me to get you up here. So just, bear with. We'll try and come out and request again. But yeah, Nat, with regards what in terms of like today's music and such, and even for things like weddings and stuff, to what you were saying, that there's not there, it is a personal thing, but even beyond like politics or whatnot, we need artists out there that is like capturing those moments. Or there's something about those old songs that is kind of nostalgic as well, make you have good feelings. But certain times I feel like it'd be good if there was some today alternative. You didn't go to the same wedding and hear the same songs, or go to a different wedding and hear the same songs that you did 2 years ago, 5 years ago, etc., etc., as an example of an event. And yeah, welcome to the stage, Shantanu. What did you want to contribute?
Hello. Hello. Can you hear me, guys?
Yes.
Uh, so about songs and the Web3 music, the poetry and the music. So I have like opinion. The song or something that can heal your mind, heal your body, soul. For me, and yeah, the times are changing. Everything is coming to the Web3. And like, have you heard about? I don't know. Have you heard about or not about the Blix? He's building some music thing on 9.bitmap. That's also sounds some interesting in the Web3 space. So looking forward to see how opportunities are changing in the Web3. Yeah, how Bitcoin and the stacks ecosystem like will perform or like evolve, help in growing this industry.
Yeah, it sounds great. Could you comment that same details of the artist in the comments? I believe you. Yeah, give thanks. So yeah, thank you lot for joining. This is the Web3 Music and Poetry Show. We're still in the very beginning stages. It's going to grow and grow and blossom and blossom and blossom. Our objective here is to essentially have conversations. At some point, start sharing music, start sharing some poetry. And basically, it's all about being web free. Web FREE. We want to be free. Artists, I'm an artist, so I champion artists. Artists need to be free in order to express themselves however they see fit. And I feel like the Web3 world, Bitcoin, is going to allow that to happen in a way that certainly I don't know about since I've been aware. since I've been involved in the creative industries, I ain't seen how the artist has been empowered at any given point up until now. We have a big opportunity to do so. And I feel like Stacks positions the artists right where they need to be in terms of getting true value from their art, which is Bitcoin. So when the artist is now empowered economically, then the question that we have today, which is what is the artist's responsibility? Is it to basically hit the needs of the corporate by making sales, or is it to meet social needs? So the people, sometimes it could be the fan base who have a certain expectation of an artist for whatever reason to basically contribute a certain kind of way when the people need them, because as some fans see it, which is right to a degree, we, without our money, without our attention, without us supporting in a certain kind of way, you wouldn't be the way you are. So what we would like from you is to talk on our social matters when it matters to us. So it's that kind of, question. In a certain contract that artists find, that means that they can't really say too much. It will be a break off the contract. There's that angle as well. But yeah, Nat, you were going to jump in.
Yeah, I was just going to say, actually, the funny thing about that, right, is when you put the two things together now, let's say Bitcoin, and what Bitcoin's mission is, the wider kind of, let's say mission of Bitcoin, but let's say the wider ethos of the space, and even like the wider crypto space maybe as and I think we can see actually that in the wider crypto space already, that the ethos, once this transcends into the regular kind of everyday human being space, I think that people will still value music in form of entertainment, but people will value a hell of a lot more, right, music with that kind of maybe social message, to it. And that's because we would have seen, let's say, if Bitcoin was to fulfill its mission, we would have seen almost like the collapse, or the balance of the current financial or economic system, and what Bitcoin has ushered in. So there is a lot of artists already in the NFT space and in the crypto space. There would be like a hell of a lot of more artists on board with kind of the general ethos of the wider crypto space. And then also I would suppose that you would see an increase of artists who are actually more aware of like things, of Bitcoin itself, I'm just saying what the ethos of Bitcoin. So I'd expect that, like, over time, if that given that this set of scenarios that Bitcoin set out to change happens, right, then people, like any other time, are going to, like aliens have landed, whatever you want to call it, are going to be like, hey, we told you this, like, in however many years ago. And there's going to be that because of Bitcoin's impact, because of how impactful it would be to the entire planet, right, and the way that people interact or transact, it would be a major thing for musicians to be in line with that particular ethos. Do you understand, right? So I think that, like, when you put the two together, yes, it is possible that we could see a future in music, where fans don't really care about just anything. I'm trying to say they are more selective with who they actually are listening to because of the message. Doesn't matter. But if the whole music industry was to transform into like a Bitcoin backed economy in the music industry, then there'll be a lot more highly socially conscious artists within the space, because we would have been through that transition of where we kind of are going through all the time, of realizing that these governments and these banks and everybody have just like got us by the balls and the rest of it, right? But that would be recognizable almost on an on the street level, at that point. So I think that it can, in the future that's like that, again, this is just all given hypothetical future that is like that, yes, it would be 100% more important to everybody. But I think right now we're not in that phase yet, because capitalism still will sell to those people, and the record labels are all about the sales, which falls in line with the capitalist vision. So do you understand? Right? Like, so therefore, whilst the record industry and the music industry is the way it is, I don't think that people will necessarily go out and demand that stuff, that a particular message. But I think that if we saw this sweeping change in monetary system, saw this sweeping change in like financial system, the way that artists and art itself, not just music, is and ownership is valued, and the ethos of how people are interacting with each other. If we saw all of that change happen, why wouldn't people, be turned off by somebody who's just narrating on about some any old thing and is not, really verifiable? They have to trust and not verify. Yeah. So, yeah, that's my opinion.
Yeah, excellent points though. Like serious points. What you made me think here is where I've lost how I wanted to word it. Because I wanted to make two things. First of all, the music I feel can play a fundamental role in championing something like Bitcoin, and as you're saying, demonstrating Wagwan with opening in terms of what's really holding people, the banks and such, and opening certain mindsets to it. And then the point about people being more engaged with artists that have messages and such in the fashion of music that speaks to truth, essentially, over and above something that is just literally superficial or it's assumed for the moment. And to be honest, it is demonstrative through long-term attention and views and sales and such. So you have music that will be hot for the moment, but in 5 years' time, because it was just on trend, it's no longer popping. Whereas something that did have a depth to it doesn't necessarily have to be socially conscious. There's a depth to it. Like it's about love. There's a depth to that, and you'll find that still gets played today. So long term, music, quality music, really does pay off, really. But big up Chipper Monkey for joining through. Big up Ben Ricker. If you want to jump on stage, I would be honored if you joined us. We're here for another 12 minutes. This is the Webfree Music and Poetry Show. I am the host, Nat Nye, Lyrical Alchemist, a Stacks community builder. Nat Cole has been dropping some gems as usual. He does jump on any stage, really, dropping gems. So give thanks for that. We had Doc earlier, Shantanu. Big up Hero Gamer. Thank you for joining us. If you also want to come on stage, please do. And the Art of Thomas, if you want to come on as well, please do. We're talking about music and poetry, but especially the power and the influence of music. Artists, do they have more of a responsibility towards? Do they have more responsibility to meeting commercial needs, getting those sales, selling entertainment, something that just makes people want to dance? Or do they have to commit to a social justice endeavor? And we found, not just recently, but over time, there's an expectation from the fan base certain times for certain artists to talk on things. Why aren't you saying this and that and that and that? And then other occasions, artists can be accused of selling out, if you like, if they are pushing a agenda and they're getting paid to push an agenda. So what is the artist's responsibility? And there's been a variety of perspectives been dropped. And what is your perspective upon that question? The question's open. Chipper Monkey, welcome to the stage. If you want to say something.
Hello. Yes, definitely. I apologize if I break up any. I'm in the car driving home right now, but I love the topic, and I've talked about kind of the fact that I'm kind of working on a writing app right now for poets and writers and things like that. But the whole thing I've been leaning into is really the self-sovereignty side of it, and really why should anybody be being pushed to do anything really at this point, especially if you're leaning into the decentralized nature of things. So really, my goals are to put the control of what you want to write about, what you want to sing about, what kind of poetry you want to put out there, back in your hands, and less so in the hands of publishing houses and things like that. So I love the topic. I'm definitely not that educated on it because I'm not a writer and I'm not a musician. I work in code, and that's why I want to make sure that I can jump into these types of spaces to talk to you guys and figure out, okay, I can build things, but what are the useful things that you guys would need from a music and writing perspective in order to accomplish the things that you want to?
Yes, that's such an awesome endeavor. And yeah, like I said, I'm down. Sure, Nat Cole's down. So whenever you need Triple Monkey, just hit me up. I'm there. Like, and I feel we've had Nat Cole's gave quite some in-depth perspectives really, and I feel ultimately when the artist is empowered, where there's a platform to be empowering, and the number one way to be empowered is through ownership. So ownership of one's artistic output or assets is critical. So it's called masters in the music industry, and you want to have control over your masters. You don't want somebody else to be the master of you or the master of your work. You want to be the master of your own work. Therefore, reaping the just rewards for you putting out something. So if there's an initial investment, and the brilliance of NFTs, to be honest, it offers both the artist a unique position to be supported by the people that genuinely love what they do. So if, for example, you have an NFT and it is one that enables your fan base to do a variety of things. So, for example, they can go to concerts for free. They get access to merchandise or meet and greet or all kinds of different things that can happen. If that's what the NFT offering is. And with the NFT, the sales of the NFT enables the artist now to produce their album completely. And the exchange is that the album is therefore has been invested in by the fan base, and now they have ownership of that, whereas an artist retains a percentage of the royalties. So whatever the fan chooses to do, whether it is to keep it, or there's a system where they're earning through streams, or if it gets in a film and there's money coming there, that the fan gets money generated through those means, or the fan sells the NFT on, the artist will still be getting a royalty from that. So that kind of relationship is one that is quite amazing when I certainly think about it. Right now, you have a situation. Traditionally, you have a situation where the record label will own the records, and the artist gets an opportunity to get that back after, on average, 25 years. And as Aretha Franklin found out, you have to do certain things on that after that expiry date to get it back, and since automatically become yours, and you've got a certain time frame to do it. Otherwise, the years are just extended. So what you're enabled to do as an artist, when you have your fan base behind you, your fan base are the investors. They're the ones who have ownership of what you've produced, and you retain a royalty from that. That's a win-win. They love what you do, so there's no pressure to sell or put out something that compromises your artistic integrity, whatever that may be. You have the freedom to put out whatever you want to put out, and the people behind you love what you're doing anyway. So it's really an amazing opportunity for artists. I feel like this new technology, Web3 in general, is really like special. And when you think about the fact that as an artist, you selling NFTs on Stacks, Stacks gives you exposure to Bitcoin. That is a method for artists to get into Bitcoin without having to even put money down. There's another method. Yeah, Chipper Monkey.
Yeah, and I want to build on that a little bit and kind of even challenge it that, now that we have Web3 and kind of this decentralized infrastructure with us, like, to me, it's more even thinking about it from just clean slate perspective, because, a lot of the trouble that you run into, from what I can tell, is with the labels and the publishing houses and the venues and things like that. And really that's a lot of carryover from the traditional infrastructure, right? Like the music and the tapes and CDs and vinyls, and then moving into MP3s and Spotify and things like that. but really what we have the opportunity now with Web3 and the decentralized nature of everything is really to kind of take it back more towards, I don't know if the UK does it, but I know in the Americas it's very popular, like busking, where you kind of just go out on the corner and play whatever you want, and whoever's walking by can stumble upon it, and if they want to contribute, they can contribute, and things like that. With the blockchain and Web3, it's more similar to that than anything, because you don't have to go through these big publishing houses to get out the world. Essentially, it's you can put things on chain, and it's just the same as if you're just out there on the corner with your guitar and a microphone and an open guitar case, right? Anybody can walk by, and anybody can contribute to your work.
Yeah, that's a good build. Before I say any more, Ben, thank you for joining what you're saying.
Yo, hey. Give me 1 second. I'll put my hand down. Yeah. So, hey everybody. Ben. I'm a community builder at Stacks London as well. This is kind of funny. This is, I guess, kind of a good opportunity to mention something that I have meant to bring up in like a Stacks London team meeting or something like that before now, just sort of out of interest. As far as what you were saying, Nat, on the artist's side, I think that there is some sort of clear examples to even somebody like me as like a failed drummer who recorded something once or twice like 10 years ago, of like relatively well-known people within the music sort of industry, even just from within rap, hip-hop, spoken word type stuff. For instance, Scroobius Pip comes to mind. Akala comes to mind from here in the UK. The Immortal Technique comes to mind from the US, of like artists who have not kind of wanted compromise on the message they were delivering, in spite of what major labels were sort of potentially offering them. And as such, they have kind of had to go independent, at least for some part of their careers. And that's just sort of like within the last decade, 15 years. But something sort of tangentially that kind of relates to what Trippin' Monkey was saying, I guess, that has kind of seemed obvious to me, that in the way, as people have mentioned this, they're kind of major labels, UMG, Sony, Warner still around. I think they're just Warner now, right? Not Time Warner.
Yeah, Warner.
Yeah. In the same way, there's those sort of, I guess, kind of oligopolies in the sort of labels front. There is the kind of situation with all of the venues and stuff like that being owned by, I think there's like two major companies. There's like Live Nation and I forget what the parent company's called that owns C Tickets, that's at least here in the UK. But a blockchain sort of solution that I think is like absolutely sitting there waiting to happen, that I have seen examples of on other chains, and I genuinely do not know whether this is a thing. Maybe some of the audience either here live or listening back to this might be in a better position to sort of comment on this. But the idea of an NFT-based gig ticketing protocol, I genuinely don't know if there is one on Stacks, but a NFT-based ticketing protocol that could be targeted at small to medium-sized venues, and hopefully sort of go on from there, simply using NFTs as the equivalent of sort of tickets. We've all been to concerts or gigs or whatever over the last sort of few years, where the thing you have used for entry is a sort of digital image brought up on your mobile screen that is scanned by somebody at the door, and that is absolutely possible with like NFTs, and I genuinely don't know whether there's such a protocol out there being built on Stacks. But if not, absolutely request for DApp, Stacks-based, NFT-based ticketing protocol for live events. And yeah, just a thought that I had, and genuinely it was something that I was going to ask team meeting at some point. But yeah, seeing as what was being said, I thought I'd sort of throw it out there now. Cheers, guys.
I don't think I've seen that yet. It would definitely be something that's possible to do. I know some of the Web3 conferences, like I think the Art Basel that's going to happen in Miami. I think some of the ordinals specific parties are using NFTs for ticketing. I think the biggest barrier to entry there is the accessibility of, you would then need everybody who comes to your show to get a wallet. And I think that's really what's stopping a lot of this widespread adoption from happening, is just education on, you know, how to do wallets, how to do NFTs, how to onboard and offboard fiat currency. So I think it's less about being able to make the ticketing technology work and more about how do we get the widespread adoption so that everybody that comes to your show will have a wallet and would be able to purchase the NFT to begin with.
My kind of solution to that would be to essentially negotiate with venues and just say, can we sort of offer this ticketing service at your shows for sort of no cost. We'll handle all of the transaction fees for the first, X number of events or whatever. And then, it doesn't have to be a certain percentage of the audience at all. If it's sort of 2%, 3% to begin with, and the protocol can survive for years, and then it starts being 3%, 5%, but then you network effects build up, that kind of thing. I guess that's what I had envisioned. I'm not sure whether that's naive or not, but
No,
yeah.
this is turning into a really good brainstorming session, because you could take that approach, and then the other thing that just kind of popped into my head is you could specifically build a wallet, that is meant for just ticketing, and market the wallet as something that's just for ticketing, so they don't get confused with all of the things that, a leather wallet or an Xverse wallet has. And you would just make this wallet just something very simple, very straightforward. It would just hold tickets to venues, and you could even let venues promote within the wallet their specific locations and things like that. So yeah, that's a really cool idea. I wish I had more time.
Yeah, likewise. Yeah, this is something that I've sort of thought about for years. And literally, I've got that kind of thing. Specifically, the last thing that you were saying about some sort of promotion side to a standalone application, as well on the just what you were saying on the pricing side of things, or on the payment side of things. Sorry. Absolutely keep the thing super simple, and you could even offer it to other applications, mainstream Web2 applications or whatever. Do you want to offer this functionality for free? Is that okay? We'll sort of make sure we'll handle the integration, and again, just see if you build up like a network effect of users. But yeah, sorry, Nat, we've hijacked your space, bro.
Not at all, not at all, not at all. You're putting out
I
some
was
good
I was
thought
going to
movements.
say in all of that as well. Sorry, yeah, right. That one of the best, I think, ways of onboarding people, just very simply, and it's very simple approach, is obviously iteratively, as you said there, Craig, like ramping it up, whether it be by fees or how they use the app, right? So I think that one of the best possible ways to do this right now is to create like a Web2 kind of Web3, maybe hybrid, right? In which people are able to come in and have a certain amount of listening power, and artists on the other side can choose whether or not they want their stuff to go on this listening list. Yeah. So that way, paying kind of like Web2 royalties, as well as, Web3 royalties, or I wouldn't say Web3 royalties because that is a whole other thing, right? But they actually have a certain level of access to the platform. And to get a further level of access to the platform, like certain features, so on and so forth, there is no email. Yeah, there's no email. You just sign up using, a Bitcoin wallet, or you can just go in there and use it with no features. Like kind of like how Spotify did when they introduced their, subscription tiers and all of that, right? It was like, okay, well, you can listen for free, but you can't skip, can't like play what you want. I'm trying to say to you, you can't hop around the platform and do anything. There's going to be ads, so on and so forth. I don't agree with the ads thing. Let me just say, I don't agree with that necessarily. Anyway, that there should be ads. If there's a way to do that in Web3, like link it with Web3 where people are making these micro payments or whatever. But I don't believe that those micro payments are going to work as well if you've already got a mechanism that people have to, let's say, use a Bitcoin wallet or something like that, right? So then let's say right now you educate that person, they can't sign up, they can't do all these features. That hey, I need to get a Bitcoin wallet to really like unlock the key features, or to really be able to delve deep into certain artist catalog. Yeah, then if they like that many artists on there, if they like the application, and you've given them a pretty simple explanation of how to just use a wallet, like then that's a pretty quick to onboard people, I would say. And like I don't want to delve too far out of the Stacks ecosystem, but I'm just saying, like recently I've been checking out on Nat Nye, I've been checking out Wavlake, right? Yeah, and I didn't really like their old system, because their old system is kind of like, okay, well, you send us an email, we set up a profile for you, and then bam, then you can start accepting Lightning payments. For me, that's still a bit too far from Bitcoin, because it makes it all permissioned, right? So or centralized in a way. But what they've kind of done now is they've kind of made that process still kind of centralized in terms of the artist profile and everything else. But the legal agreement is there to, the ownership of the music. So even if you do upload your music, like you still got the protection of the legal agreement. And then further, right, like, once you've loaded up and you've got a Lightning wallet, you can pretty much like get sats like immediately the moment somebody starts to interact with you. Do you understand, right? So like, if let's say the way how it pretty much works is they've got this thing called boosts, and boost is like a like, or something like that, like that kind of engagement. Anyway, it's like a like, and that boost, yeah, like you can set up like a minimum amount of sats to tip artists, like 10 sats, 100 sats, 200 sats, 1,000 sats, however much is a minimum. And every time you hit that boost button, you'll be micro paying that artist, right? Directly. That is, no platform doesn't take any fees, right? So it's directly Lightning wallets, right? Yeah. And then you can also comment on artists' tracks, and when you comment, you can also give the artist a boost with the comment. And to comment, you have to spend a minimum of 10 sats. Yeah, so it avoids spam later on building up on the site, because the more expensive Bitcoin comes, you can imagine how expensive it would be for a spammer to jam on the site all day long trying to spam everybody's comments like the way they do on YouTube platforms, right? Yeah, or even somebody spamming themselves, would look pretty suspicious to a lot of Bitcoiners, sitting on the site, right? Yeah, if there's loads of 10 sats, loads of comments, right? So they're looking, I can see that they're formulating that into a kind of groundwork and a framework for doing that. Yeah. And it, at the moment, apart from a few centralized bits here and there, it pretty much works. So it's really working out how permission we make this, and how can we make it where, it is kind of semi-web 2, semi-web 3. If you don't use the site as a user, you can't skip tunes. Same like Spotify, you can't skip tunes. You can just play stuff. Yeah, right. You can't interact further than that. So, in the end of the day, that is the kind of model is what we should really be seeing, I think, because everything is in control of the artist. Again, there are a few centralized choke points there, but every control of the artist, and the artist gets micropayments directly for any type of engagement that is meaningful. So that's it.
Yeah, powerful points. And that platform sounds like they're really, really thinking about how best to benefit the artists as well. Like, I don't know, Chip and Monkey, it would be good to check them out in terms of like just how they're going about supporting the artists in a certain kind of way. The idea of the spam blocker, or this, basically you need to comment, you need to incentivize or be incentivized. You have to put money down basically to do so. That's serious. But then it makes me think, yeah, it also stops negative comments as well. because you're not going to pay anything to put down a negative comment. So if you're going to say something that is like an opinion, you're going to pay to be objective. If you feel like, oh yeah, this could happen or whatnot. Ben, you wanted to say something, but yeah, I'm going to have to shut this down shortly.
Like that, like this, bro. Yeah, spammer. Yeah, wants to put contact Mr. Trader, who I made $1 million with last week, right? Like YouTube, right? Underneath everybody's bloody thing on the site, they have to spend a minimum of 10 sats to do it, right? Yeah. So if there's 10,000 artists on the site, every single time that they do this spam set of comments, bro, they are basically 1 million sats, bro. Sorry, 100,000 sats. Sorry, they're spending 100,000 sats every single time that they go to comment on this 1,000, 10,000 people's artist profiles, bro. Every one comment that they do, yeah, like no one's gonna be able to keep that up. The more expensive Bitcoin becomes, bro, like who's gonna be able to keep that up? And remember that the platform, they could always just a further upper limit and make it like 100 sats or 50 sats for you to comment. Yeah, and then it makes it more and more expensive. So in the same way that China 51% attack Bitcoin at this moment in time, like you need anyway, right? Let's not even get into that, right? Trying to attack like the security budget is ridiculous, right? So in the end of the day, right, like it's working off of a very similar system to try and make it so that look, we are combating spam, but also if somebody does decide to spam, all these artists are going to get paid. They're getting paid off for this person that's hating their music. Like win-win, in it for the artists.
Proper win-win. Ben, you want to say something, and then after that, I'm going to wrap up.
Oh yeah, just a real quick one. I was just going to say this idea of Bitcoin being used as a sort of anti-spam mechanism. I believe at the time the posts or emails, I forget which, were in relation to like an online forum. But yeah, same difference. I want to say it was one of the Bitcoin OGs, maybe Mike Hearn or somebody like that.
I do remember an idea like that.
Yeah, had a conversation with Satoshi, I think where they emailed back and forth about this idea of Bitcoin being used for spam protection. I forget who it was. It might have been Mike Hearn, but it was one of the OG Bitcoiners, and I'm pretty sure that the exchange is sort of like reasonably well known by dorks like me because it's talking about using Bitcoin as sort of like a spam protection mechanism.
Well, the funny you say that, sorry, Ben, right, is that I can't remember whether it was Hashcash or one of them, right, that was actually prior to Bitcoin, was actually, this is kind of like the very early days of when they were thinking about building this kind of, cash. Like the first kind of test for this was actual email spam. If somebody had to spend resources to send spam emails, so it could be that you're maybe, I know the conversation did come up, a lot of the time, right? Like on Bitcoin Talk and stuff like that. Because I remember like loads of platforms saying, hey, you use this crypto, and because you've got this crypto, people are incentivized, but at the same time, people can't leave comments and blah, 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 blah. Yeah. So believe that, yeah, that conversation of that being used on email goes back like before Bitcoin, because that was like kind of like the first original kind of design for using like a cryptocurrency and how it could be used, like using these computational resources to prove emails and to have a spend basically for emails. And I think that's where the double spend problem was, also another big thing, that people could like double spend, to send multiple spam emails or something like that. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I do remember it, bro. Very good point.
Yeah, I think it could have been Hashcash that you were referring to in regards to email spam. The second one might have been D-Money though. But yeah, the one about email spam. Yeah, I do remember that there's definitely something out there, which I think it's adding back in Hashcash in it. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I'll shut up. Cheers, guys.
Yeah, no, great points. And yeah, thank you, Ben and Nat, for contributing. Big up Chip and Monkey. Hero Gamer, thank you for being in the audience. And the art of Thomas, yeah, thank you for coming through still. This is the Web3 Music and Poetry Show. We're steady building, slowly. We're going to get there. It's going to be a vibrant space of conversation, interviews, topics like this where we go in. Certain times there'll be even more time to really, really, really go in. And yeah, the sharing of music and poetry when more artists flow into the space. hopefully next fortnight Monday, we're going to have Longstreet join us. We'll see. If not, there's going to be more conversations or another artist. If any of you guys want to come on and do an interview or whatnot, please hit me up. That would be great. And yeah, we're gonna keep this the party started. We're gonna keep it building and building and building. Each time I see it as like throwing in another log of wood, and then the log of wood turns the fire into a furnace one day, and it's all blazing. But you lot were here at the very beginning, so you remember how it all started. Give thanks for the space, Nat Cole, Stacks London, and my fellow community builder, Ben R, for joining in. But yeah, big up to everyone, and I see everyone on the X or real life or wherever in the very near future. So Nat Cole, if you want to say Wagwan, what's happening with Stacks coming up. Otherwise, yeah, peace.
Yeah, just quickly, everybody that's in the room, myself and Hero Gape here, will be doing a grant support space this Wednesday evening, UK 8 p.m. And 5 p.m. G, I believe that is. 5 p.m. EST, sorry, I believe that is, but 8 p.m. GMT. So we'll be running that space, and that will be around in the D grants program, the Stacks. So I want to say it's community, but it's a community-led decentralized grants program for funding smaller community-led initiatives and ideas. So if it's something that you do want to support for community, then yeah, join that space, and I'll be happy to run through or give you any kind of support that you need and help you to understand what you can actually build and what is available to you to get that assistance. So big up to Hero Gamer for those, and there's lots of those popping off all day, every day, it seems, right about now. So make sure you get involved. The closing of the grants, I believe, has been extended to the 26th, I think. But if you let me just see if I can pop it up there in the as well, one of Hero's tweets here. But while I'm doing that, I will also just quickly shout out where we were talking about earlier on with music platforms. I will also just quickly shout out the Audio Notes platform that I've actually put at the top as well, which is a fully on-chain music sequencer and sample library that has been built by Jim.btc. Now that in terms of what we were talking about with royalties and stuff earlier on, you watch Jim's actual video, you can go on YouTube and just type in Ordinals Bitcoin Unleashed. And if you watch Jim's video from Bitcoin Unleashed, he actually goes really in depth about how deeply interlinked things like samples and phrases and the use of music can actually be between the different parties that are participating in the Bitcoin blockchain or using the actual platform itself in a way that could really democratize music and make every little sound and everything have value. So yeah, that's definitely a wonderful platform. But for anyone catching up to this space, those have been pinned to the top. We are out.
Peace.